There we go.
Okay.
Does it say recording on
Yeah,
yours?
it's
Okay,
recording.
doesn't show it here. All right. So anyway, we're actually continuing on from where we left off last time, and the question is, how can we actually learn to play with this, uh, let us say, this teaching from the Buddha, rather than trying to understand it intellectually or put it into a concept? All right.
Yeah.
So, the first thing that we can understand about it, that's just the point, which was the point that I was making last time, but let's make sure that we reinforce that, is that the five aggregates are, first off, the kind of the sum total of who you are, with the body, the feelings, consciousness, perception, and the memory system. Okay, that's the first thing, is that's about all there is. The second point is that there is no inherent self or unity. There's no soul within any of those things. And yet we are taught in our society, especially in religion, that there is something there that is permanent, everlasting, defines who you are. In a way, you could say that it's all in the genes, to where we in fact know that that's not the truth, that sometimes genes get turned on and off, that there's some kind of genes that do things, and then there's other kind of genes which are boss genes that turn things on and off. So in that regard, that means then that we are not inherently something that stays something. That's the important thing. When you've got that, when you recognize there is no self there inherently within those, then the question is, well, where does the self come from? Okay. So a way of talking about that then also is that a car, an automobile, has the facility of transportation. And yet the quality of transportation is not in the lug nuts. It's not in the tire. It's not in the steering wheel. There is no inherent transportation ability in the back seat itself. And if you take that back seat out of the car and put it on the ground and sit on that back seat, you're not going to go anywhere. Okay. When we understand it like that, then we can say, oh, putting that stuff together then is where the self comes from. That you could say that not only is it a certain kind of function of the five aggregates, but it is a function that needs tweaking. It needs repair. It's not that in fact we do not want the five aggregates to produce a self. It's almost like saying, yes, a car does have transportation, but it also has exhaust. Wouldn't it be nice if we had a car that does have transportation, but does not have exhaust?
So
Okay,
we have
so
to find a
self
way
is
to,
basic.
yeah,
Yeah.
condition, use all these elements to condition us in a way that we don't have the what we don't have the self, or is it in a way that we don't have the attachments?
Okay. So let us say then one of the ways of speaking is that when these five aggregates come together, they touch, they contact. And that contact, that putting together, is where feelings arise.
Mhm.
In that case, this is where Bhikkhu Buddhadasa talks about it, that this is where we need to spend our time and attention, is at feelings.
Okay.
That's the important one. So we can talk about feelings in that regard, in the sense that ignorantly, we don't have any control over whether we feel good or feel bad. But wisely, we can choose whether we feel good or feel bad. And so you can say then that ignorant or that delusional, well, that's just how it is, right?
Mm.
Or many expressions like that. One is the fruit doesn't fall far from the tree. A leopard can't change its spots. That's just how things are.
It's just yeah.
Boys will be boys. Okay, there's a lot of that, but it's heavy duty reinforced in some religions like Christianity, in the sense of original sin. Not only can you not change, you're broken. You're broken and will stay broken, and you need fixing, but God's not going to fix you until you're dead. And He'd better fix you because you're, in this case, not worth putting into heaven. Right? The interesting thing about heaven, they talk about, heaven is where all the Christians go. Well, the Christians that I know that are in South Carolina and in the southern part of the United States, I don't want to go to South Carolina to be around Christians. Why should I want to go to heaven and be around them there? So that's the whole idea then is that they've got an idea of permanency and they can't be fixed. But we're understanding that no, everything is fluid and that we can change. And this is what the teaching of Paticcasamuppāda is all about, is to find those places where we can start to make some changes.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. I kind of see what you mean. Yeah.
All right. Now, we can say that many of the changes that can be made have the quality of being late and being ordinary. But as we progress, we're going to be able to do that so that we can change that stuff very quickly in a noble way. But we got to start with the slow, hard way. And so here, let me give you an example of that. Two people are, let us say, in an argument, wherever they are. They may be in a bar, they may be in a funeral home, but they're arguing, right? When does the argument stop?
When they leave each other, probably.
Pardon?
When they leave, when one of them decided to to go away,
Right.
back off.
So,
Yeah.
and that may be death. I decide
Yeah.
to die on you because you just stuck a knife in me. Okay. That's pretty late in the argument, isn't it?
Yeah.
That means nobody woke up. So somebody woke up that says, I want out of here. This is dukkha. And so they left. Okay. In some arguments, in fact, what happens is that the leaving, the exit, has also a door slam that will
Yeah.
slam the door on the way out. Okay. That's an important point about that we recognize that things have gone too far. Okay. So now we're on a roll because we have actually gone from in Paticcasamuppāda is that we're recognizing that this tanha and this upādāna has caused us to go into a woeful state, and this is misery. We want out of it. Okay. So if we wake up a little bit sooner, we can recognize then that all this is just merely tanha. I don't have to go all the way into dukkha. Right. And so what we begin to do then is we begin to rest at feelings. This is the watch point. Bhikkhu Buddhadasa talks about it in the sense of number one, getting the mind fit for work. And then he talks about it as wisdom at the point of contact. Wisdom at the point of contact means that we actually have a choice about how we feel about things if we have wisdom at the point of contact. Or if we are a little bit late, we can see the feelings that we have and change them. That this is the place that we're going to start working now is at the point of feelings, vedanā, which is, by the way, halfway in. And if you look at it from the sense of the feelings, plus dukkha, plus the original ignorance that we've talked about, and voila, we've got second noble truth. The Paticcasamuppāda is nothing but an exposition of the second noble truth of what is the cause of suffering, is our ignorance and our feelings.
Yeah. Okay.
And so the
Yeah, I
five
can.
aggregates, where did the feelings come from?
Mhm.
Right? And so here's where we're left now is with, okay, we're going to start watching how we feel and then figure out how we got there. Now, this is a fairly advanced way along the practice. This already takes some skills. Okay. So the skills that we need to develop for this is to be able to catch the kind of thoughts that we have so that we can gladden the mind and make ourselves feel good. We need to actually understand that we do have a mechanism so that we can feel the way that we want to feel rather than feeling haphazardly according to the old habit patterns of the mind, that you actually can choose how you want to feel. And that is basically by talking yourself into it. In fact, on these video calls, of these 1,000 video calls, that's what I spend most of my time doing, is talking the student into feeling good.
Yeah.
Recognizing that if I can talk them into feeling good, they can talk themselves into feeling good also.
Mhm. Yeah, I noticed that the good feeling I get from other people or other circumstances is just me uh, putting the good feeling authorization on this thing, and when I get it, I'm like, okay, now I can feel good. But it was always mine. Like
Mm-hmm.
the
You're always your choice. That's what we're
yeah.
developing. We're developing the first understanding is I've got a choice. And the second one is that yes, I have a choice and it really is my choice and I can make it. Okay, so it's both the possibility of success and the guarantee of success. The possibility is I can change, and then the other part is darn tootin' I can. Yes, we can change. Yes, let's do it. I have changed. So this is actually then right effort is the change and the samma or the attitude that I can change because we're practicing over and over and over again to change the way we feel. Because we're in the habit of feeling in a certain way, now we're going to develop a new habit of feeling really good.
Yeah.
Okay. In other words, we're going to start taking control over the feelings. And we do this in what we refer to as seclusion. In other words, we don't have very heavy weights draining down on us, just the natural bad feelings all by themselves is where we're going to start. We're going to make things as easy as possible by not having, let us say, the right place to practice ānāpānasati for the beginner is not standing in front of a firing squad or being wrestled to the ground by the cops or being hauled into court. Those are all heavy duty things. We want to get away from all the heavy stuff so that we can do it and start to develop it so that we know that we can do this. Then later, when the heavy comes, we can draw on that tap that yes, I can make myself feel good. I can do it in this tough situation also. And so we begin to practice that, and we begin to fail at it as we're practicing. As we begin to wake up to what's really going on, many times in the beginning, we don't like it.
Yeah.
But we develop also the quality of, yes, I can like it, even though I used to not like what used to cause my trouble. Now I want to be friends with that which caused my trouble, because only by seeing it correctly can we together avoid the trouble. This is all going back to the point about feelings, that if you recognize you have a choice about how you feel. All right, so let's give an example of that. The example is that the husband sees mother and daughter having a big fight, an argument with each other, and he does not like them arguing. So he storms in the room and starts yelling at them for arguing. In other words, he joins the fight.
Yeah.
Guess what? Neither one of them want him in there fighting with them. They'd rather have their own argument by themselves. Thank you very much. And he's made things a lot worse.
Yeah.
Because he did not like them fighting. Okay. But if he is wise, he can say, wait a minute, I can choose the way that I feel.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't have to hate that they're arguing. What I can do instead is enjoy the point that I don't have to interfere. I've learned my lesson, and I know now not to go into that cat fight. Because if you go into a cat fight, you're going to get scratched. So don't go into a cat fight, and so we can congratulate ourselves and be proud. Wow, I don't have to go into that.
Yeah.
And now I can just sit here and enjoy the show. Okay, so that means now that we have actually taken control of the way that we feel. Before, we really hated what was going on. Now we can feel okay about what's going on because we know that we can't do anything that's going to improve the situation, that all we can do is just enjoy the situation. And then you might make a statement, something like, aha, you two are really funny, like that, a couple of cats fighting, to try to wake them up. But we always do that with humor rather than anger. But can you get yourself into a state of humor about two people fighting?
That's the effort, right?
That's the right effort.
Yeah.
And the way that we develop that right effort is by going into seclusion and recognizing the fights that we got on in our own mind and say, aha, I see you two fighting again. And so this is the way that we practice. This is why seclusion is so important, is so that we can get in there and start changing the way that we feel. So that then we have a choice about how we feel when the going gets tough. And the going gets tough means that we've gotten ourselves in the possibility of going into a state of not liking. I don't like this. Okay. And the answer is, well, that's still my choice. And I can like that I don't have to not like it.
Okay, yeah.
I can actually, I can feel really pleased. Wow, you guys used to just get me all uptight when you fought. Now I'm okay with it. Yeah, fight on.
Okay.
I hope you're enjoying your fight as much as I am.
Yeah, that's a nice way to go around it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I feel effort when I try to, for example, I have usually it's like a feeling that I don't like. And so I try to like it. I try to tell myself, okay, it's okay, I like this feeling. But it's not always quick. Sometimes it's a lot of effort, and then the effort creates even more hard feeling. And then I try to be like, okay, I can just enjoy these bad feelings. And sometimes it gets a little bit nicer, and then it goes back. It's always like a kind of like a fight, but where I try not to fight.
Right. So what we're actually beginning to do here, this wisdom at the point of contact, means that we're actually broadcasting or revisiting the actual scene in the sense of what we invented in our mind. So when they were fighting and I didn't like it, now I can go back in my mind about their fighting. So what? In other words, I could begin to change my attitude. And the issue is that it's not that they're fighting and I don't like it. It's that they're fighting and I can choose how I want to feel about it. We can begin to change that. That's that relationship between the salāyatana and the contact and the feelings. So in that area, we can change the way that we feel, that we do not have to act ignorantly. This is the place of starting paying attention. This is the excellent place. Why is that excellent? Well, it's excellent because we are already not in dukkha trying to crawl out of it. We have just caught it in the nick of time before we got into it. That's the latest time that we can catch it without actually having to step into it.
Yeah, at least we're not. We're not feeling good, but at least we're not in the fight.
Exactly. All right.
Joining the
Mhm. So, in that regard, we can say that we can see the distinctions now between vedanā and upādāna. There's a distinction between I am pleased by it and I like it, as opposed to I want it. You see, that was an ignorant step that we made. Just because I like it doesn't mean I have to want it. Or in the case of the two people arguing, I don't like it, but that doesn't mean that I want to change it. I want to fix it. I see it broken. I want to fix it. Right? So we can see that. We can begin to see I like it, I want it, or I don't like it. It's my job to fix it. Those are two different things.
But how do
And
you do this with the feelings? Because I understand that with the situations, maybe like a family members fighting, but
mhm.
sometimes with the feelings, there is a want to fix them because we're trying to change them, right, into the awesome. So sometimes when we get bad feelings, I mean, when I get bad feeling, I try
Ah,
to change it, maybe, and there is some attachment there because I'm attached to
yeah,
the
right.
nice feeling.
Here's the ignorance, too. The ignorance is their fight makes me feel bad.
Mhm.
Guess what? Their fighting doesn't make me feel bad.
Yeah.
I have chosen ignorantly to feel bad because they're fighting.
Mhm.
hmm That in fact, some people could be standing watching the fight that they're having, betting money on it. They're really
Yes.
enjoying the fight. Right. So maybe that's the way that you could do it. You could start saying, "Oh, well, I'm going to bet $5 on Mama. She'll win this argument." Get them to start thinking about that they're in a prize fight or something. Okay, so in any case, um, the story is that Ajahn Chah asked Ajahn Sumedho a question when they were at a big ceremony that had a lot of Thai young ladies all dressed to the nines. And Ajahn Chah asked Ajahn Sumedho, "What do you think about all of this?" And Ajahn Sumedho's answer was, "I like it, but I don't want it. I like it, but I don't want it." Okay, so this is where we can say then wisdom at the point of contact, and we like it, but it's wise now, and we don't have to let our liking into go into lust. I want it. We could just leave it at the state of I like it.
Yeah.
All
That's a
right.
big
You can
big
also
switch.
do the point about the feelings with I don't like it. Just because I don't like it doesn't mean that I've got to go fix it. I don't like it, but I'm not going to fix it. Okay. There's also a stage which can be very valuable and useful for some people in the sense of I like it and I want it, but I can't have it. I'm not going to get what I want. Can I be comfortable and happy even if I don't get what I want? Because if I can be comfortable and happy when I don't get what I want, then maybe I can stop wanting it because I'm already satisfied without it. So these are the things that we play with at an ordinary level. Okay. That I can not like it, but that I like that I don't have to do anything about it. So
Okay, yeah.
this is this point of now we're working at phassa, vedanā, tanha, and upādāna, which is a much better place to work than after we're already in it. From the woeful state, trying to climb back out of it is better to not go in it, to recognize that I like it and therefore I want it. There's another step that happens, and that is I like it, I want it, I need it, it's good for me, therefore it is inherently good. I don't like it, I want to get rid of it, it's bad for me, therefore it's inherently bad. In fact, it's downright evil. Okay, so good and evil at a very high philosophical level, that way up there where the religions are, good and evil is not defined as something actually good or actually something evil, but it's defined by I don't like it, therefore it's evil, and I like it, therefore it's good. So this is where our feelings come from. There are not where they come from, but that's where they can go. Goes into judgments. Then, in fact, eating of the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil was what got Adam and Eve tossed out of their what was it, a cemetery? No, it was paradise.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so how did they get thrown out of their paradise? Because they started judging their paradise.
Mhm.
Oh, this is a nice paradise here, except that this piece of paradise, this tree's got a yellow leaf, and I don't like yellow leaves, so I'm going to pick off every yellow leaf I find in my paradise. How many leaves will be left if I pull all of them off, one at a time, when they go yellow, right? Maybe we won't be in a paradise anymore. We'll be in a sea of dead trees. That's what we do when we judge. So let us go back then to the feeling. In other words, instead of having thoughts like it is bad for those two family members to argue, we can stay with I don't like it and leave it there and start dealing with the feelings right then and there. I don't like it, rather than jumping to some rule like that's bad for them to fight.
The,
In fact,
the, I have a question because the thing it's not mostly about like family members fighting or circumstances, even if sometimes it is, but most of the dukkha I feel actually like at the moment is mostly about the feeling itself. Like I'm maybe I have a bad feeling for some reason, but then I don't care about the reason, but I still have the sensation that I don't like very much, like the feeling that
mhm.
I don't like, and so I try to change it, but this trying, I don't know how to explain very well,
Are
but
you talking about maybe anxiety or the feeling of tension, pressure?
like I feel that I'm attached to the feeling itself and not something like two people fighting that or like the weather is bad or something
Okay.
like this. It's mostly
All
about
right.
I don't feel good and I try to feel good and I'm attached to the good feeling because I know it's right practice
Is it
and there is
possible then
some
that the reason that you don't
confusion.
feel good now is because there's two people inside your own mind that's fighting and you haven't figured that out yet?
Possibly.
Yeah, that may be what's going on, is that the argument or the fight that you're don't liking was already inside anyway. So we need to start paying attention to that. This is where it becomes more noble, in the sense of what kind of thoughts am I having when my two family members are fighting, or what kind of thoughts am I having in my own fight on the inside that brings up the anxiety. Okay, so anxiety just doesn't happen on its own, just like a tree that is being cut down. You know that good forestry people that are good at their job, never mind the moral issue of cutting trees down, but they can guide that tree, that they know where it's going to fall because of the way that they're cutting it. It leans, okay? The leaning then, or the angle, is going to determine how that tree falls. That's also true in the mind. It's called attitude.
Yes.
And in engineering, we use the word attitude in the sense of what kind of support systems does it need? In other words, where is it being out of balance or out of gravity, or it's leaning? It's got an attitude, right?
Mm.
And so if it's leaning or has an attitude, like the attitude, for instance, of being a victim to other people. When other people argue, I get really uptight. Okay. But that's because that's my attitude, or that's the way that I lean. Therefore, every time I hear two people fighting, I do get uptight and upset. All right. Well, guess what happens to very, very little children when mommy and daddy is having an argument? That's where we learn that stuff. We learn it. And when I say that stuff, that means we learn to feel bad. We learn to feel in danger. We learn to feel uptight when the environment is noisy, when two people are arguing or whatever. And so we grow up with that same mentality. We repeat the same thing over and over again. Now you have a choice. At that point of contact, you can say, wait a minute, I don't have to follow the old feelings from the past that I felt uptight and anxious when mommy and daddy were fighting back then, but I don't have to now. I can feel the way that I want to feel. This is the waking up process. This is what sati is all about. Or to recognize that these thoughts and feelings are unwholesome. Let's put some wholesome thoughts and feelings in instead. Thoughts like, I can handle this. Okay, so this is exactly why ānāpānasati and Paticcasamuppāda fit so deeply, closely together, that you can see exactly where ānāpānasati practice is actually modifying these actual elements that are specified in Paticcasamuppāda. And we can change if we remember to change, and we know exactly where to tweak. You can
Okay.
feel the way you want to, because you're having thoughts to feel the way that you want to. That's the salāyatana, that you can make out of this situation what you want to make out of it. You're not bound to make out of it what you've always been making out of it in the past. We can make a change. And the
And the
first thing we
attitude.
want to practice is to change the way we feel. Or we can change at the point of, I like it and I want it, but I could do without it. I don't have to go into, I like it, I want it, I need it, I gotta have it. Okay, we could stop. We don't have to go all the way there. Okay, and we can begin to play with that until the point that we can get it. Okay, I like it and I want it, but I don't need it. Later, we can come to, I like it, but I don't need it. I don't want it. I can like things because I like them by choice, without having to go to the point of I have to have it. And that's how we interrupt the process. And you can begin to feel the way you want to feel.
So the way I want to feel, there is this
Well, guess,
one
I mean, think about it.
wanting.
How do you want to feel? How would you want to feel if you could feel the way you wanted to feel? How would you feel?
I would feel good.
Okay.
But I think there
And
is the I want to feel good all the time. There
well,
is this.
that's something that you don't have. The question is, a better question is, can you feel the way you want to feel right now when you think about feeling the way you want to feel? Because you're not going to feel the way you want to feel when you've forgotten all about feeling the way you want to. You're going to be back feeling the way that you're in the habit of feeling.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I understand.
So,
Okay.
sati, let's wake up. Let's
Mm.
remember that we can feel the way that we want to feel, because otherwise we'll feel the way that we used to feel
Mm.
until we
Yeah, I
begin
think
to get that thing upright. We begin to get our attitude changed. And the attitude is, I can do this. I can handle this. Wow, I can take care of this. That this is not a hindrance for me. I can throw that stuff out.
I think it's the attitude, the doubt, because sometimes I guess I have a less sati, less remembering. So then I get back to feeling like I used to. And it's such a big difference from how I feel when I pay attention and I feel like really good. Then I get the doubt, like I lost it because like a few moments ago I forget and I felt as usual. I mean, I didn't feel that bad, but now that there is this contrast, it feels really
Hmm.
like
Uh-huh.
negative compared to the awesomeness of having awesome
Right.
thoughts. Then
It is
there's this doubt, like oh, I lost it, and then I try to feel good again, and I lose the confidence, and this
right.
attitude
Okay.
is
So
leading me. Yeah.
recognize that that's the way that it happens,
Mm.
and that you can remember again.
Yeah.
Keep remembering that you don't have to feel bad, that you can remember that you can feel the way that you want to feel. That's the secret of Paticcasamuppāda, that you don't have to feel like you want it or you need it or you got to get rid of it. That's what we've been always doing ignorantly, thinking, oh, that if I like it, I have to have it. Oh, if I don't like it, it's bad. Those are delusional thoughts. And the reality of the situation is that you can feel the way you want to feel if you remember to feel the way that you want to feel. And so start experimenting. Well, if I could feel the way that I wanted to feel, how would I feel? And start practicing feeling that way.
Mhm. Okay. It's very
Hmm.
simple. It's always the same thing, and I know it, but it's tricky. Yeah, yeah,
It actually is. The Dhamma of the Buddha is very, very simple, but it goes against what we've been doing. It goes against our basically the flow of greed, ill will, and delusion that is the world. And you can begin to feel the way that you want to feel and gain the skills to do that if you remember that you can feel the way you want to feel. Hot dog, I
yeah.
can't feel the way that I want to feel. I don't have to feel the way that I'm thinking. I can change the way that I'm thinking and feel the way that I want to think. Or I actually think the way that will help put me in the state of feeling the way that I want to feel. And so one of the ways that we feel really good is by feeling successful, feeling
Yes.
satisfied, feeling content, feeling safe and secure. Safe, secure, content, satisfied, and successful. That's the
Uh,
list of stuff that the Buddha gives.
yeah. About the successful part, I think that's the one that for me is a bit lacking. Um, because I just like sometimes I don't feel successful and at this practice because I forget and then I felt bad for like a few hours or days and
Uh-huh.
how what could we talk a bit more about just the successful part of it, like what are your awesome thought about it that you like maybe or something that I could use to feel even more successful.
Well, here's the
Like
thing
yeah.
that happens with most people is that when they do remember that they can feel good, they don't like the fact that they have not been feeling good. In other words, we turn around to the past and say,
Yes,
blah, 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 you were bad because I wasn't already feeling good. And
that's it.
while
Yeah,
they're doing that finger pointing, they're still not feeling good.
exactly. Yeah,
Right.
that's it.
So we
That's what
have to
I meant.
recognize that to be happy that we did remember now rather than being unhappy that we forgot so long.
Hmm.
That's the quality of never mind, start again. I do remember now, let's do it now. rather than, oh, poor me, I forgot all of those hours. Look how miserable I was all of that time. Guess what? I'm still miserable. I haven't changed it yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And by staying miserable, that's just the old habit. We're just going along the same old habit feeling. And now we recognize that we're in a bad habit feeling. And so we say, oh, look, I'm still in that bad habit feeling. This meditation is not working for me because but it's not working because you're not practicing that. The correct meditation is to remember to stop that stuff, to remember to stop the past, be okay right now. Remember that you can feel right now the way you want to feel. Never mind that you weren't before. Now you can.
Yeah, I got to stop looking back.
Right. I can remember. I can. And so we develop that can-do attitude, becoming a lion. The Buddha was known as a lion. Become powerful, become strong. Because you can feel the way that you want to feel, you become champion. You become the owner of your feelings. Most people, the self, whatever that is, actually takes on and becomes the feeling. It's out of control. So people will say things like, I'm angry. I'm frustrated. Okay. Guess what? They're not angry. They're not frustrated, but there is anger. And instead of seeing anger as anger, they see the self as angry. That's the beginning of the self, is that is I am angry, rather than, oh, I see that anger. Yeah, it's there. So I am angry is very much like this. I am angry, as opposed to, aha, I see that anger. I see it. And because I see it, I am not angry, but I see the anger. Or as we're talking about, I see that I like it. I like it. I want it. Aha, I see that. I can see that I like it, and therefore I want it. And now I can just rest with, oh, I like it, sure, but I don't want it. Or if I like it and want it, I don't need it. So those are those points that we can do, because if we like it and we want it and we need it, now we're in misery. Now we're in a woeful state. And people wake up out of those woeful states. They don't stay in the woeful state too long. They do wake up out of it. We're going to wake up before we get into it.
Yeah,
earlier and earlier and earlier and earlier. Can we go from the woeful state back to the clinging and say, I can make that change? Just because I like it and want it doesn't mean that I have to have it. I'll be okay without it. Then we can back up. I like it and I want it, but I don't really want it that much. I just like it. So now we're back into the feelings. Just so that's the backup. That's the way that we can actually see that stuff happening within your own mind. Watch closely now.
Okay, yeah. That's very helpful.
Okay. Well, go practice this. Go practice watching what your mind is doing.
Mm-hmm. I'll do more ānāpānasati and less thinking about this. Yeah, more watching.
Okay. Well, we'll see you later.
All
right. Very good. This is
Thank
great.
you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Okay. All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, let's have a good moment. That's all we need.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Bye-bye.
See you. Bye-bye.